The movie opens in a quiet neighborhood on a fine sunny morning. We see one of the residents, Shannon, in her attic, anxiously wrapping something in cloth. Moments later, she comes out of the house and dumps that object in the trash can. She then lets her daughter, Claire, ride her bicycle along the street. The family dog also joins in on the fun, and it appears to be a normal day for the kid. However, things quickly take a grim turn. When Claire returns to the house, she goes to find her mom in the attic, only to discover that the woman has committed the unthinkable. The movie then cuts to several years later, where a grown-up Claire suddenly wakes up from her sleep. It turns out she's still having nightmares about her mother's death. She now lives with her single father, Jonathan, who works as a garbage collector. The family dog, Max, has also grown up, and he is her best friend. After getting ready, Claire heads to school on her bicycle. She greets her neighbor, Mrs. DeLuca, on the way and also comes across her maternal uncle August. The old man is trying to retrieve his newspaper, but Claire offers to get it for him. As she turns her bicycle around, the school bully Darcy arrives from the opposite direction. Claire manages to swerve just in time, but she crashes on the floor and scrapes her knee. Regardless, she goes to school where she spots her father dumpster diving with his friend. "Hey, baby, found some Cheerios," he exclaims. This embarrasses the teenager, and she angrily confronts him about it. Jonathan claims that he's just trying to find something useful, but when Claire urges him to leave, he obliges. In the next scene, we get to know that Claire is often bullied by the popular kids who regard her as a dumb loser from a poor family. This becomes even more evident when the meanest bully, Darcy, throws a drink at Claire's poster which she had been working on for months. Claire's only friends at school are June and Meredith, and they seem to have a good bond because all three of them are equally unpopular. We also learn that Claire has a massive crush on a popular guy named Paul. However, he already has a girlfriend. Meanwhile, as Jonathan is dumpster diving in the neighborhood, he finds a vintage music box and decides to keep it as it looks really fancy from the outside. Back at school, Claire finally decides to confront Darcy. She approaches her and calls her smegma in front of everyone, grossing them out. This, of course, upsets Darcy, and she slaps Claire across the face. But Claire retaliates with a right hand of her own, leading to a catfight. Their classmates don't even try to stop them, they are busy taking videos of the encounter. Fortunately, before the matter escalates, a teacher arrives, breaks up the fight, and Claire reaches home. Jonathan tells her that he has something for her. She goes to her room and finds a wrapped object in her bed. Claire opens it, revealing the same vintage music box her dad had found earlier. She tries to open it, but it's firmly locked, with some words written in Chinese. Claire deciphers the first sentence, which says 7 wishes. However, she doesn't believe in all this, so she places the box on her table and gets back to work. Later, Claire receives a text from her friend, informing her to check Darcy's Instagram post. She goes online and finds out that Darcy has posted the video of their earlier fight and also uploaded a separate video of Jonathan dumpster diving in the school. Humiliated and angry, Claire decides to give the strange box a shot. She places her hands on it and wishes that Darcy would just rot. After making her first wish, Claire realizes that she has left Max outside. She opens the door for him, but the dog refuses to enter, staring at the box almost as if he senses something paranormal. After Claire falls asleep, the mysterious box opens on its own and starts playing some music. However, it quickly stops and closes before Claire can find out. In the morning, Darcy wakes up to a horrific sight. Most of her body has turned black and is covered with bruises. It turns out she's contracted necrotizing fasciitis from her visit to the spa. When the news reaches the school, Claire can't help but wonder if her wish is responsible for this. At home, she takes a picture of the mysterious box to research it. Since Max is not around, she decides to look for him outside. Soon, Claire hears strange noises coming from the crawl space and goes inside to investigate. To her horror, she finds her dead dog being eaten by rats, breaking the poor teenager. Later, Jonathan and his friend help bury the dog while Claire cries her heart out. The following day at school, she approaches the Chinese teacher and shows him the characters engraved on the mystery box, asking for his help in deciphering them. The teacher reveals that the engravings are in ancient Chinese, so only a scholar can translate them. Hearing their conversation, a student named Ryan offers to help her, claiming that his cousin is studying ancient Chinese. Claire, however, doesn't trust him and refuses his offer. That night at home, she checks her crush Paul's Instagram profile and drools over him. With nothing to lose, she turns to the box and makes her second wish that Paul will fall madly in love with her. The next day at school, Paul approaches her near the locker, flirts with Claire, and despite his girlfriend being next to him. Meanwhile, the mystery box starts playing on its own again. Simultaneously, at Uncle August's residence, he is trying to take a bath when he slips and hits his head on the bathtub, resulting in his immediate demise. That evening, Claire receives the unfortunate news from her father. Jonathan also reveals that their uncle left nothing for them in his will. Frustrated, Claire quickly goes to her room and makes her third wish that Uncle August leaves his entire property in her name. A few minutes later, Jonathan receives a call from the authorities, informing him that Claire will inherit all of her uncle's assets. This leaves them in complete shock, but they quickly pack their stuff and move to the grand mansion. Now that Claire is finally rich, she wastes no time and starts spending her uncle's money. She even takes her friends on a shopping spree to show off her wealth. That night, Claire finally spots the music box playing on its own, unaware of the danger about to befall her neighbor, Mrs. DeLuca. As Mrs. DeLuca is working in the kitchen, the waste disposal machine accidentally turns on, catching her hair and pulling her scalp apart, killing her on the spot. The following day at school, an obsessed Paul breaks up with his girlfriend and proposes to Claire, asking her out on a date. However, Claire requests some time to think about it. In the evening, Claire finally decides to take Ryan's help to find out more about the box. He happily takes her to his cousin Gina's apartment for a proper investigation. Gina takes a look at the box, claiming that it's a Chinese wish pot that grants 7 wishes. She also finds the letters Lume written on it and the ice that she was the owner. Upon researching the name on the internet, the group learns that Lum's entire family was killed by some bad guys. She took her music box and prayed for days until the demon answered her. Lum used the power of the demon to vanquish all her enemies and become rich. However, in the end, she committed the unthinkable for reasons unknown. Gina tries to decipher the rest of the writings, but they are in a much more complex dialect. She takes a picture and sends it to her friend for more information. In the small town, everyone studies Chinese. As Ryan and Claire are heading home, she once again finds her dad dumpster diving. Filled with rage, she goes home and makes her 4th wish that her dad will be less embarrassing to her. Jonathan immediately turns into a cool guy and starts playing the saxophone in front of her friends. Gina, however, receives an email from her friend regarding the translation. When she reads it, she is shocked to the core. Back at Claire's house, the mystery box starts playing an eerie song on its own, indicating that it's about to kill again. Simultaneously, Gina's room experiences a power outage, prompting her to rush outside. She tries to call Ryan to inform him about the mystery box's actual truth, but a gust of wind drops her phone from the balcony. Gina hurries inside her room but accidentally trips and impales herself on a sharp statue, resulting in her unfortunate death. In the morning, Ryan discovers her shattered phone on the floor, reading the typed message she was about to send him. This makes him really worried, and he rushes to Gina's room, only to find her lifeless body against the statue. Later at school, Ryan approaches Claire, asking if she has made any recent wishes. He reveals that he found his cousin Gina dead in her apartment and finally discloses what the engravings on the mystery box mean. For every wish, the box is going to claim a life. Claire feels sorry for Gina's death but lies that she hasn't made any wish and leaves. In the cafeteria, Claire finally decides to date Paul, but the other students still make fun of her. As a result, Claire returns home and makes her 5th wish that she becomes the most popular girl in school. Paul instantly invites her to a party where only the popular kids hang out. When Claire reaches there, she is the star of the event, receiving praise and compliments. That night, Claire experiences another nightmare of her mother's passing. When she wakes up, she notices someone stalking her from the balcony. Claire runs after him, but the man is long gone. The next morning, she goes to Mrs. DeLuca's residence and finally finds her dead body, realizing that the mystery box is indeed killing people. Claire promptly reports it to her friends, but they don't believe her. They suggest that she throws away the mystery box. Heeding their suggestion, Claire carries the box and proceeds to dump it in the trash. However, when she hears her dad playing the sax, she decides to hold onto it a bit longer. The following night, the school hosts a farewell party, and as Claire is making out with Paul in his car, she asks for his phone. When she checks through his gallery, she is shocked to find her pictures there, revealing that he is the person who has been stalking her at night. Claire breaks up with him, and later at the party, Meredith on the 27th floor plays again. Simultaneously, the music box starts playing on its own, and poor Meredith becomes the next victim. As soon as she enters the elevator, it plunges down at great speed, killing her instantly and leaving everyone horrified. Later, Ryan takes a traumatized Claire to his home to show her something. He did some research on the box and found out that all its previous owners committed the unthinkable after getting their 7 wishes granted. This means that if Claire makes 2 more wishes, she will be killed too. Claire has no regard for other people, and to stop this from happening, the two try to destroy the box, but it proves to be an impossible task. Claire simply locks the mystery box inside a vent, and with its absence, the wishes it made also start to go away. The house is soon repossessed by the authorities due to Uncle August's unpaid taxes. This forces Claire and her dad to move back to their old cottage. She loses not only her wealth but also her popularity, returning to being the unpopular kid whom no one likes. Plus, she's a serial killer. Later at school, she discovers that it was actually June who stole the mystery box. June claims that she did so for everyone's safety, but Claire doesn't listen. She angrily snatches the box away, and in the ensuing tussle, June falls off the stairs and injures herself. When Claire reaches home, she makes her 6th wish for her mother to return, and just like that, Shannon comes back to life, hugging her. Claire discovers that she has 2 new siblings. That day, the family has a wonderful time together, and Claire forgets all about her worries. However, when she goes to the attic, she finds something shocking. Turns out, her mom owned this music box before she did. It was the same thing she dumped at the start of the movie, and it was the same reason why she committed the unthinkable. Just then, the box starts playing an eerie song. Jonathan is currently in the garden cutting some tree branches with his friend. Claire realizes that her father is in danger. She rushes to warn him, but her scream distracts Jonathan, and as he removes his foot off the ladder, his friend loses balance and accidentally ends up decapitating Jonathan with his chainsaw. Devastated at the sight, Claire rushes back to her room and makes her final wish that she be taken back to the day when Jonathan found the box. Soon after, she wakes up from her nightmare, and her wish has come true. In this timeline, Max is still alive, as is Meredith, Jonathan, Mrs. DeLuca, and even her uncle. Without wasting any time, Claire goes to the dumpster and takes out the mystery box before her father can find it. She covers it with a cloth and hands it over to Ryan. At school, Claire doesn't reveal what it is but asks him never to open it. Ryan is confused as he doesn't even know Claire at this point. However, she kisses him and asks him out on a date. As she proceeds to walk away, she is suddenly struck by Darcy's car, killing her on the spot. Claire becomes the 7th and final victim. So, what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below, and if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.